Hello everyone, I'm Tstaffor, and welcome to the Scip Squad. I'm a Nemet contained at the SCP Foundation. I'm stuck in an isolated containment terminal, but luckily it has some audio files I can check out. To pass the time, I'll be listening to one with you all. It's called Rock Paper Yog-Sothoth, and it's written by Mortos. Item number, SCP-4633, Anomaly Class, Keter. Special Containment Procedures. Persons transformed by SCP-4633 are to undergo corrective surgery when possible. If not, they are to be housed in a low-security containment facility until a suitable solution is found. Recordings of SCP-4633 are to be removed from public sources via standard data censoring protocols if feasible, or otherwise debunked as the result of computer-generated imagery. Witnesses to SCP-4633 are to be amnesticized. Description: SCP-4633 is an alteration to the game of rock, paper, scissors, in which players can use additional anomalous gestures. The specific gestures added seem to vary between groups of players, though this is proven difficult to track due to the nature of the changes. Once a game featuring SCP-4633 begins, participants are able to use non-standard gestures which integrate into the existing mechanics of the game. When used, players' hands will undergo rapid and extreme morphological changes, allowing them to correctly perform the final gesture. The resulting forms are typically reminiscent of those found in sea life. Once complete, these changes are permanent, though those affected appear to suffer no distress at this fact. Surgical correction is possible in rare situations, but where treatment is possible at all, amputation is typically the only viable recourse. SCP-4633 was originally discovered in an email with the subject, "Pro tips to win at rock, paper, scissors, sick." The email contained an obviously manipulated image of a man with 6 arms performing rock, paper, and scissors along with 3 unknown gestures, and was followed by a largely incoherent exposition about the importance of rock, paper, scissors to humanity's culture and the necessity of winning at all costs. Attempts to trace these emails have been inconclusive. Observed SCP-4633 gestures. The following are examples of anomalous gestures observed over a number of games. Name. Footnote 1. Approximate phonetic spelling of spoken name. To date, no names have matched words in any known language. Rakeshet. Alterations. Thumb enters the palm of the hand and emerges from the thumbnail of the other hand. Observed rules. Beats rock and paper, loses to scissors, and another unknown gesture. Name. Shanaknar. Alterations. Hand turns inside out. Observed rules. Reverse the usual win-loss pairings of the rest of the game. Name. Azra-Vok. Alterations. Over 20 funnel-shaped orifices lined with pointed teeth manifest on hand and forearm. Observed rules. Lost to scissors. Each mouth forcefully ejected lamprey teeth at the opposing player for the remainder of the game. Opponent ultimately won but was hospitalized for blood loss. Name. Chatek. Alterations. Hand and forearm split octolaterally into prehensile tentacles connected by skin tissue. Observed rules. Additional digits allow for a larger variety of gestures to be performed. Opponent was forced to use same gesture to maintain parity. Game lasted 3 hours, during which 37 distinct gestures were performed. Name. Unknown. Alterations. Each digit transforms into a bioluminescent anglerfish lure. Observed rules. Movement of lures produced hypnotic effect. Prior to each throw, opponent would say what their intended gesture was. Player was ultimately defeated when their opponent used Ilarl Teth. Name. Ilarl Teth. Alterations. A mass of coral shaped like a hand. Observed rules. Player proceeded to beat their opponent unconscious with their new limb. It is unclear if this was part of the game. Name. Unknown. Alterations. Long spines grow from the back of the hand and arm. Dozens of thin tendrils grow from the underside of the palm. Observed rules. Unknown. Was observed to beat rock. Incident 4633/1. On 03/04/2011, footage was recovered from an SCP-4633 event supposedly occurring during the 2010 USA Rock Paper Scissors League Championship. No records exist of this league championship occurring. The last documented championship was in 2009. Below is a transcript of video footage. Note: opening ceremony and player entrances redacted for brevity. All names have been replaced with generic identifiers. For this game, Fifth-Fall-Tolgrin rules are in effect. Player 1 and Player 2 nod.
Okay, here we go.
A duel for the ages, ladies and gentlemen. The moment the world has been waiting for.
Did you see that? Player 2 trying to subliminally project scissors there.
3, 2, 1, engage. Player 1 and Player 2 begin the game motions.
Let's see if Player 1 picked up on it.
Player 1 performs the paper gesture. Player 2 performs the rock gesture.
And he didn't buy it. He picked up on Player 2's tell. Player 2 is in big trouble here.
Player 2 has relied on his ability to subliminally influence the opponent's choices for most of this tournament. We'll have to see how he adapts in this final battle now that he's been called on it.
Something interesting to note. Player 2 has thrown far more hands than Player 1 today, so fatigue might become a factor here.
3, 2, 1, engage. Player 1 and Player 2 begin the game motions.
We'll see how that affects the proceedings here, and oh, it's a tie.
Player 1 and Player 2 both perform the rock gesture.
Both players going for the less strenuous option there, rock being the default move.
Yeah, you could really see the strain on Player 2's face here. He's worried and it shows.
3, 2, 1, engage.
Can Player 2 salvage some shred of dignity here, or will this first match go to Player 1?
Player 1 performs the scissors gesture. Player 2 performs a non-standard hand gesture. His hand undergoes a rapid transformation into a large crab pincer.
And he's done it! He's thrown Sugar Gone, which of course beats rock, paper, and scissors.
That's a bold move there from Player 2 as he takes the round. From the look on Player 1's face, he did not see that one coming.
That's what I love about this game. You never know where the next surprise is gonna come from. Of course, Player 2's options are somewhat limited now that his hand has become a giant crab claw.
You're right about that one, Commentator 1.
3, 2, 1, engage.
And here we go now. What could be the final throw of this match?
Player 2 performs an unknown gesture, presumed to be a repeat of the previous Shagargan gesture. Player 1 performs another unknown gesture. His hand transforms into a long-spined tentacle.
And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Player 1 throws Get Fair Tudit, which of course is the only move he could perform to beat Shagargan, and takes match 1.
An exciting match, that's for sure. Stay tuned for match 2, where we'll see what these two RPS giants have in store for us. But now, some messages from our sponsors.
Advertisements show for approximately 4 minutes.
We're back, and it looks like we're ready to get straight back into things.
That's right, and the crowd is getting real fired up. Sounds like they're as eager as we are to see if Player 2 can come back from this crushing defeat in the last match.
3, 2, 1, engage! Both players throw unknown gestures with their affected hands.
See, this is what I was afraid of, Commentator 2. Player 2 put himself in a real bad position last match by throwing Sugar Gone so early, and now with that giant crab claw hand, it's the only thing he can do.
You're right about that, and Player 1's Get Fair Tudut will beat Player 2's hand every time. Player 2 needs a miracle right now, Commentator 1.
The crowd begins loudly chanting Yog-Sothoth repeatedly. 3, 2, 1, engage! Player 1 throws what is assumed to be a repeat of his previous gesture. Player 2 performs a series of anatomically improbable gestures with his claw hand. Crowd chanting intensifies.
What's this?
Player 2's body distends, twists, and divides. A few seconds later, his body is mutated into a large ovoid shape with a single large eye in the center and 7 distinct appendages, expanding radially around the central mass, suspended by a wide, flat foot at the base. One of the appendages is still a large crab claw. The center mass of the body folds over slightly. Each appendage moves into a fixed position, forming an unknown gesture.
Oh my god, I don't believe it. He's done it, and the crowd is going wild.
This just goes to show you the level of commitment these athletes bring to the sport, Commentator 1. It would have been easy for him to just throw in the towel and call it a day, but instead, fueled by the energy of the crowd, he transformed himself into a single gigantic hand. There's no throw a regular human can even perform to beat the Yog-Sothoth.
You're right about that, which leaves Player 1 with exactly one option if they want to stay in this game. Let's see if he has what it takes.
Crowd chanting intensifies. 3, 2, 1, engage! Player 2's body contorts into an unknown gesture. Player 1 performs a series of gestures with his mutated hand, his body warping into a form similar to that of Player 2. His body contorts into an unknown gesture.
He did it! Such dedication. This match is going down in history, Commentator 2.
It sure is, and we're not done yet. We've got a tie right there, so the round continues.
The crowd continues chanting. The match continues for 5 more throws, each declared a tie, at which point the commentators indicate that advertisements are about to begin and the footage ends. Investigation into the footage led to the discovery and containment of both players from the footage, in the same building in which the game apparently occurred. They no longer appear to require sustenance, and have continued to throw gestures in time with each other approximately every 30 seconds since containment began. No further USA Rock Paper Scissors League events have occurred. Well, there you have it. That's some pretty strange Rochambeau. See you later, Skip Squad.